You know, it's really exciting to see CatDog get some representation inside the world of video games.
Him being a fighter in Nickelodeon All-Stars, he only made a few appearances in other games like Nickelodeon Kart Racers, Nicktoons Racing, Super Brawl, and he's also the host of Nicktoons Party Slam.
Why, I'll share half of it with you, Cat. You are a real dog, Doggy-O. But now, let the real games commence.
Now, besides those, he's only received one game, CatDog and the Golden Hydrant. It's nothing too special, but nonetheless, I'm glad they have at least one game.
Shred, shred, shred.
But what if I were to say that there was another game that was planned to come out, but never did? A very special magazine came out, and also a very expensive magazine. But James was really cool, so thank you, James, for telling me it. Woody contemplating eating Tom Hanks. That's exactly what's happening on here. It's pretty terrifying, actually. Now, if you switch to page 4, you'll find an advertisement. 2 paws up for 2 games. CatDog and the Golden Hydrant, the one that we got, and CatDog Saving Mean Bob for the PlayStation. Coming soon. It never happened. So what is this game? Why didn't we get it? What was it about? Well, quite simply, it just never came out. That's why we didn't get it. It was canceled. The other question is, what do we know about the game? Well, very little actually. There was a total of 8 screenshots and 2 covers for it. And I think it was probably this one that was gonna be the end cover. It's a little smoother, you know?
The first question I think we need to ask is, who is Mean Bob? It's an action figure, of course. In Season 1, Episode 11, The Collector is all about Cat and Dog buying a toy called Mean Bob. Cat buys hundreds in hopes that the value will go up over time, later trying to sell them, but it was too late. And now there's a new toy everyone wants, such as collecting Cat, such as collecting. But I digress. This is who we're saving. And you can see him right on the cover over here. Now, isn't that nice? Where we actually get the most information, surprisingly, is IGN.com. PSX Nation from February 22nd, 2000. Strangely enough, the wiki hasn't even referenced any of this. There's a lot to read here, so let's speed it up to save some time. Boom!
Cat has carelessly thrown away Mean Bob, Dog's favorite action figure. And now he's on a mission to get it back. It's fast action, leading CatDog all over Nürburg to 6 different locations. CatDog's House, the streets of Nürburg, Cavity Crunch Cereal Factory, the Dog Pound, Better Bottoms Boutique, Taco Depot, and the City Dump. Enter through the locations levels to find the tools are needed to save Mean Bob. Uncool feature is that players can play alone or cooperatively with each other, each controlling half. The game will be fully rendered with locations based off of the TV series.
So yeah, it says that there are 6 locations. CatDog's House, the street of Nürburg, Cavity Crunch Cereal Factory, the Dog Pound, Better Bottoms Boutique, Taco Depot, and the City Dump. But that's 7? And there's also a few misspelt words here, so who's to say how reliable the source is? I'm not judging though. I'm terrible at spelling. You just ask any one of my friends. You can see most of the screenshots as well. Forgive me if we look at these screenshots a bit out of order. I think I've pasted them in the way that will make it a little easier on us. Here we have CatDogs House. Both of them are in bed. I assume it will be rolling while they avoid obstacles and collect items. We see what I can only assume to be a life bar on the right and how many items you've collected on the left. On the very bottom right, we see some sort of item. Only part of it is on screen. It looks kind of like a clock, but if that's true, then what is this timer up here? Who knows? Next, we have a cave thing. If I had to guess based off of the process of elimination, I'd say that this is the street of Nürburg. Maybe there is one more screenshot that the level could belong to, but I'll get to that later. Here we have CatDog, who seems to be on some rickety mine shaft full of bumps and turns, going to God knows where. Demon portal? That looks like a demon portal. Again, these screenshots are blown up so much, it's so hard to make out any fine details. Next up is CatDog surfing on what appears to be sand, but I'd be willing to guess it's actually cereal. Specifically, Cavity Crunch. We also see things like the rubber duck and chattering teeth in the background. And there's also this shell-looking thing down here. Who knows what it is? Perhaps these are all toys you'd find in cereal boxes, and now they are obstacles for Cat and Dog to avoid. Next up, we have a screenshot with cobble walls on the left and some military walls on the right. There also seems to be these bunnies on top. I'd be willing to bet that this is the Dog Pound. Bunnies kind of posing as the law, I'm sure with some sort of corruption, like Rancid Rabbit, the green guy who always appears as the antagonist for Cat and Dog. Last thing to mention here is Cat and Dog, who is exiting a bed of a truck with what seems to be pillows or sandbags who's to say, really? Next, we have a giant bathtub. Again, just guessing here. I bet this is Better Bottoms? Perhaps? Not sure why they'd have a huge bathtub, but this level does look like it'd be a load of fun. Looks like surfing would play a big mechanic in this game, seeing it in a few levels. Only other thing of note we can find here is the soap on the left here. And maybe that duck in the last screenshot we looked at is actually a surfboard? Again, it's hard to make out the fine details of this game. Last screenshot we see CatDog jumping, I assume off this tire here, down a straight corridor. Now, with all the straight shots in this game, I'd be willing to bet that it's kind of a Crash clone, like most PS1 games did. We see a swinging object right here, kind of like a wrecking ball, and I'd be willing to bet that this place is probably the city dump. Now, there's 2 more screenshots. Now, these 2 are fuzzy because they were taken right out of the magazine, and looks very different from the others we've looked at. Here we have CatDog standing, this time, on a 2D plane. It's safe to say that this would be the Taco Depot level, because, you know, all the tacos on the wall. We also see a strange door, and whatever these 2 things are, I mean, who knows, really. The last screenshot is this one, CatDog sitting outside their house. This was the other screenshot I was talking about that could be the street level. Now, I only have one question. Why are these screenshots 2D planes and the other ones 3D? There's a few possibilities. This game could jump between 2D and 3D gameplay styles. This might be a map, or like kind of an overworld, which I doubt. These are levels that IGN were talking about. They fit perfectly in the description of these levels. But if these are levels, why'd the magazine show the boring 2D and not the dazzling 3D of the game? I'd be willing to bet that this was an early version of the game, probably a beta, and switched over to 3D gameplay later on. But that's just guesswork on my part. From what I've seen, it looks like it'd be a fun game. The 2-player cooperation sounds genius, and the surfing levels do look fun as hell. Why didn't we get this game?
Well, it sounds like there's a lot stacked against this game. It sounded like they needed more time, and when Hasbro Interactive was sold to Info Games in 2001, it sounds like they just canceled it on the spot. Plus, not to mention that the PlayStation 2 was to be released a mere month before this game was to be released. When releasing it when there's a new platform out there just really doesn't make all that much sense. Now, the only known person to be working on this game was the creator himself, Robert Lamrix. I hope I said his name right. It's a French name. I'm very sorry. Now, the people who were developing this game was Gnomeware, which is actually the same people that made this game. I doubt that the same team would be working on this game than the team that was working on the PlayStation 1. But if the same team worked on this game, then we do have a few names in here that we can ask if they worked on the PlayStation 1 games. Maybe interview those people, see if they know anything else about the PlayStation 1 game. But other than that, we really don't have any names on anyone that worked on the PlayStation 1 game. But Robert Lamrix does have a LinkedIn account, and maybe one of these days I'll build up the courage to actually make an account and ask him myself what this game would have been like. What was the music? Are there any... what would have happened in this game? We literally know next to nothing about this game besides a few screenshots. But yeah, what do you guys think about this canceled PS1 game? Would you have played it? It looks super fun. And we're not done with cancel media. There's plenty of canceled games out there that I'd love to cover, especially Nickelodeon stuff. There's surprisingly a lot. So we'll cover a lot of those. So if you're looking forward to that, hit that subscribe button. Like this if you enjoyed this content, and I will see you guys in another episode. Goodbye.